Welcome to week 14. We're flying through these weeks, aren't we? Looking forward to today. It's a little bit different, a bit of a teaching sort of moment. Jesus said in Matthew 6:33, he tells us this. He says, in this time, in this hour, so that you can have a focus in your life, he says, but seek first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow. And he goes, but tomorrow has enough of its own worry. This is, a challenge, well, it's a joy of our Christianity in our area of what we call today, perhaps in a modern world, mental health, how we process life. And when Christianity gives us this beautiful opportunity to process life really different. And Jesus said, one of the things you're going to have to address is worry. And how do you address worry? Not by not worrying, but by being able to seek first the kingdom of God. So it gives our mind something proactive to do. So what is the kingdom of God? How does that actually work? I want to draw it up on the whiteboard just to help you and help me today in a very simple diagram that I trust sticks in your mind for a long, long, long while. We understand that there's two moral and spiritual kingdoms in the world that we operate under. You've always operated around and in these kingdoms. It's just when you understand it, you can actually be more deliberate about where you want to live and how you can live there. So the reality is the two moral and spiritual kingdoms are very, very simple. There's the kingdom of God and there's the kingdom of darkness, or the devil himself who controls that. He is the father of that, and so that everything he does is essentially negative. Everything that God does is incredibly positive. This kingdom here is a counterfeit of the real kingdom. And we were born into this kingdom. We were born into a fallen world. That's really important to understand. Why did, things happen to people? Why does this happen to that? It's not because of God, essentially. It's because we've been born into a fallen world, a fallen nature, and our nature needs to be redeemed. We'll talk about that in a moment. But how important it is, some of the things that we experience when we're born into this world, can be, negativity, for example. There can be things of fear. Worry we talked about, which is a manifestation of fear. There can be, hurt. There can be disappointment. There can be depression. There can be guilt, shame. All these different things that start to build up around here, around our life, that, unkindness, bullying, all these different things that would come into there. And I don't know about you, but many, many people have experienced this sort of lifestyle. You probably have too, in one way, shape or form. This is the kingdom of darkness. This is the kingdom we're trying to get in. In this kingdom, we're a victim. We are victim to the circumstances and the way that kingdom is actually set up. The devil is a liar. He's also incredibly negative. So nothing positive can come out of this kingdom. So the reality is that God saw this mess and he sent his son, his name was Jesus, to come and die on a cross for us and rise again, to give us the resurrection life of moving from one kingdom to another. So the reality is we come in our hurt and our pain, and the Bible calls it our unrighteousness. And Jesus, who's never sinned, comes to us in our pain and hurt and disappointment as a perfect sacrifice or offering for our sin. And so when we come to him, we come into him with the worst of us, and he gives us the best of him. That's the beautiful exchange that the cross actually brings. So by believing in him who died for us on the cross and inviting Jesus into our heart, we're translated out of the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of his glorious light. That's a beautiful, beautiful place to be translated out of that kingdom, because I believe on him who we talked about in earlier sessions. We've been saved by grace, that unmerited, undeserved favor that God gives us to come. When we're born into the kingdom of God, we start to experience the things of this kingdom, and that's peace, it's joy, it's love, it's kindness. All of those sort of things we start to experience, and many, many more. We experience true hope in our life. And when we start to experience these things and live out these things and in turn choose these things, we then can receive or walk in the kingdom of God. Kingdom of God is something more you step into. You step into the kingdom mentality. What's that? Thanking Jesus that you're no longer here, but you're over here. Kingdom of darkness, kingdom of light. How do you get there? Through Jesus Christ. That's the wonderful thing. that we can always remember, always have in our heart. That's why when on Sunday the pastor says, come on, it's all about Jesus. And we go, yes, it is about Jesus. He translated me out of this kingdom into this kingdom, and I'm starting to experience many of these things to be in my life in such a real way. Gee, it gets powerful. It gets exciting, because so you can live a powerful Christianity to know, seek first the kingdom of God, his kingdom, not this. Seek first, put your focus over here, the kingdom of God and his righteousness, the rightness of God that got you there. And all the things you chase after, essentially, food, clothing, shelter, all those things we chase after, God says, I will provide those for you. Wow, gets exciting, doesn't it? Week 14, we're up to 15 tomorrow. See you tomorrow.